Welcome back to Tied Down TV, the punk rock opinion show with me, Geoff.
I'm Danny.
And today we're doing our top 5 albums from 2010 to 2019. So, yeah, obviously...
Interesting time.
Yeah.
A lot of bands really pushing the envelope. Look, it had been done before. Experimentation had been done before, hadn't it?
Yeah.
You go back to when we were coming of age, you had stuff like Refused.
That's how things move forward.
Yeah, Refused. Dillinger Escape Plan had done some mad stuff, you know. Converge, even though they've been together a long time.
Yeah, but they shifted the sound a bit and things.
Yeah. So it's not like bands hadn't really tried to put. And look, the term post-hardcore in itself is basically explaining past. You know what I mean? But in context of this video, seems like a time where bands were again really trying to push the envelope of hardcore, seeing what they could. What they could not get away with, but taking it to maybe a almost more poppy direction at times. You probably guessed I'm referring to some of the big heads of this time: Turnstile, Knocked Loose, Higher Power, bands like that, Fucked Up, all that. I mean, even though I think they existed much before.
They came before it, but they definitely were pushing envelopes in that decade as well.
But yeah, it was. But in context of these, it was quite a hard list to pick this, because one thing I kept doing is I kept picking albums and then realising they were just out of this time frame by a year or so, one way or the other.
Especially 2020, I got about 3 albums in my head and they were all 2020.
Yeah, it happened quite a lot.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, I'll have that, no problem, and I'd be like, oh shit, it's 2009, or I'll have that. So yeah, it was. But still, I managed to pick. There was a few left in the old collection, but there was quite a few there where I was like, there's a few that are just gonna have to sit by the sideline, because there was still some absolute classics that came out in this period.
Yeah, I've kind of tried to mix it up.
Same.
I think you have as well. Yeah. In some throwback hardcore bits and bobs. We'll talk through it as we go. So, shall I kick things off? Pick number 1 for me. I've gone first 4 EPs by Off. I know, compilation, but even the band count it as their first album, who have just split up. Glad we got to see him. Anyway, hardcore supergroup made up of Keith Morris on vocals, members of Red Cross, Burning Brides, etc. So Dimitri Coates, who's the guitarist in Off, was working in the studio with Circle Jerks, who were working on some material, dabbling with maybe putting out something new. That all kind of fell apart, but Dimitri and Keith had all these songs they'd written together and decided to form a new band, Off. They formed in 2009, played their first gig in 2010. EP number 1 came out in the October of 2010. By December, they'd already released the 3 other EPs and then this compilation of them all. It's fucking great. I mean, the artwork is done by, what's his name? Raymond Pennybond, is it? Yeah, Pettibon, that's it, who did all the Black Flag artwork. It's Greg Ginn's brother. Fucking amazing though. Throwback hardcore, it sounds a bit like Circle Jerks. It's fast, it's just fast punk.
Definitely a throwback sound.
Doesn't outstay its welcome. 20 minutes, bish bash bosh, 16 tracks. And like I say, it's fucking great. In your face, loads of great songs on here. Jeffrey Lee Pierce is amazing. I Don't Belong, Black Thought, Panic Attack, fucking loads, Fuck People. Yeah, go check them out. Off, first 4 EPs.
Great pick. Also a Geoff pick.
Yeah,
I ever seen one.
Yeah.
My first pick, definitely on the opposite spectrum probably. I've gone Power Trip, Nightmare Logic. What an awesome band. Now every now and then a band comes along that have got a hell of a lot of hype. And, I can be a bit cynical. I can kind of go,
we're all a bit guilty,
where you go, oh, come on,
not going to be that good.
Let's have a listen then.
Yeah.
These are a band I believe that fully deserve the hype that I'd heard before I'd heard the band.
Okay.
Both albums that they released are absolutely incredible. The stuff they released before the albums were incredible as well. I could have picked this or the album before it. I think the reason maybe I swung towards this one, look, they play a crossover style that is, very also influenced by Integrity and Ringworm and stuff like that. It makes for a brilliant package, unbelievable energy, with a bit of, it's got that darkness of those types of bands. But I think the reason I went for this is because they showed with the song Executioner's Tax that they can also play a mid-pace track and still be absolutely awesome with it.
Quality.
And just an absolutely incredible band. Like I say, they fully deserve the hype. Unfortunately, the singer Riley Gale obviously passed away a few years ago. But everything they did was just gold. probably one of the bands I listened to the most during this period in terms of consistency. I just, I'll go back to Power Trip. It was just one of them bands. But like I said, they deserve the hype. They're just an incredible band. So if you're into, look, I don't want to insult anyone's scope because I'm sure most people watching this, if not everyone, knows Power Trip. But if you like a bit, if I just say it dead quick, if you like a bit of crossover but with a little bit of integrity, ringworm type hardcore, Power Trip. Any of the releases you can't go wrong with.
Excellent choice.
Yeah.
Right, pick number 2 for me. I have gone for Facades by Limp. So Limp formed in 1998-ish, I think. Members of Los Crudos, Devoid of Faith, a few other notable bands around the time. Chicago-based, I think. As you can see from the cover, the name, obviously, their subject matter focuses a lot on the LGBTQ, the issues in the scene and things like that. But, very intelligently done. Amazing political lyrics as well. Fucking fast, furious motherfuckers as well. It's so fucking in your face, some of it. I'd actually say this, they had a couple of other releases, which some of it borders on like power violence. It's so fucking good. Some of this slows down maybe a little bit and you can kind of get more of a groove out of some of the songs, but it's still fucking fast. The first 8 tracks are anyway. 3 tracks at the end, electronic. Just out of the blue, like it took me by surprise first time I heard this, because I heard this after hearing that over a couple of releases, and I was like, oh, fucking hell, what's going on here? I think I was listening to it on Spotify or something, and I thought, it just started playing like a random song by another band. It's like the kind of electronic music you'd hear like 3 a.m. at a rave. But anyway, fucking amazing band. They haven't done anything out since. I don't know what the status really is of them, but they're fucking great. If you've not heard them, go and check them out. Like I say, especially like really fast, hardcore, furious, in your face. Amazing. Limp.
My next pick, I've gone Mindforce, Excalibur. If Power Trip play a crossover style influenced by integrity and stuff like that, Mindforce play a crossover style that's heavily influenced by the New York hardcore bands.
Okay.
I jokingly called them the 2010s Leeway.
Yeah.
And there's only one Leeway, but I think you can definitely see my point if you listen to this record.
Okay.
The singer even has, similar get up to Eddie Leeway. He has a little hat and stuff like that. A lot of energy live, great band. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have much to say about it. It is literally what I've just explained to you. That's very metally with New York hardcore influence. I was always going to love it.
I was going to say, so as you said, Off was a very Geoff pick. Yeah, that's probably a very Danny pick.
It was one of the first when we said what should we do this week. It was one of the ones where I thought, oh, Mindforce.
Yeah.
Straight away, I thought Mindforce came out then. I'll have that.
Amazing. Okay, pick number 3 for me. So I've gone for David Comes to Life by Fucked Up. So, as Danny mentioned briefly in the beginning, we was talking about bands innovating, experimenting. These obviously were big frontrunners. They existed before this decade. This is their 3rd album, and
remember they played in Liverpool around 2000
early on.
5, something like that.
Yeah, and they've been going, They've
been going a long time.
Put out a lot of stuff as well, a lot of singles, a lot of, just standalone stuff. But it tends to, when they do albums, they try and push in the boat out a little bit. So this is like it's a rock opera. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Like Tommy Quadrophenia, choose whichever one you like. Tells a story I'll give you a very brief rundown of, but so guy's called David, works in a factory in England in the late 70s, early 80s, making light bulbs, meets a girl called Veronica, who is like a radical protester. Long story short, they build a bomb to blow up this factory. Bomb kills her, doesn't successfully blow up the factory. He is mourning and he's sad. He meets a woman called Vivian, tells him that maybe it wasn't actually his fault, and then it comes out that there's the narrator of the story. He's to blame. He accepts fault, but is also says, that I'm created as the bad guy in this story. That was my job. Anyway, it convolutes. It's very meta. It's just full of fucking bangers, though, front to back for me. The song Turn the Season, honestly, every time I listen to it, it makes me so happy. I love it, but it's full of great tunes. Queen of Hearts starting it off, and where is it? Fucking Ship of Fools is amazing. Running on Nothing, it's fucking great. It's long, like I say, it's a rock opera, it's a double album. Unlike most double albums, there's a handful of tracks you might not want to care to listen to again and again, but there's 10 or so at least on here for me that I just think are fucking amazing, raging songs, and they're a fucking great band. Damien's a great front man. I've never actually had the pleasure of seeing him live, although I did have tickets once, but it was a good friend's wedding on the same day, so I couldn't go. But he fucking beats his head in the mic with the mic, his blood, and he dives in the crowd. He's a big guy, But yeah, anyway, Fucked Up, David Comes to Life, go check them out.
My next pick is Title Fight Shed. Sometimes surprises people when they find out I'm into stuff like Title Fight, but I absolutely loved Title Fight. I really, really loved Title Fight. They came along at a time where they were the band I needed at the time. Do you know what I mean? They were the band I needed, and I've got a big love for everyone who knows me well knows I've got big love for like Midwest emo. This is how would I say? It's heavily influenced by Midwest emo.
Yeah.
Now they're I believe they're a very special band, Title Fight, and I'll tell you why. Now 3 albums, couple of EPs, demo. They sound completely different, and when I say they changed their style quite heavily on each release. Now, when they started off, they were very much a pop. They had a pop punk sound.
Yeah.
They released this album. It's like melodic. It's like melodic hardcore sound.
Yeah.
Floral Green is like a post-hardcore emo type.
It's also fucking great.
Yeah. Record, and then the last album, Hypercaffium, is like full-on shoegaze.
Also great.
Also amazing. Now, here's what I think special. How many bands can change their style quite dramatically from release to release, yet still sound like the band they are?
Yeah,
each of those albums sounds like Title Fight. They sound like Title Fight on every album, even though they change the sound quite radically.
Yeah.
And each album is no less than a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
very, very.
They're a fucking great
brilliant,
band.
Brilliant band. Yeah. And I've really racked my brains trying to figure out, what it is about them that is able to still sound like them, but sounds so dramatically different on each release. And I think it is their genius ear for melody.
Okay.
Because even though the genres that they play are different on each release, the melodies are very much Title Fight melodies.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So you hear a melody on Hypercaffium, it still sounds like a Title Fight melody. You hear a melody on this, it sounds like a Title Fight melody. I mean, you know what I mean? I just think I just think it was a bit of genius, to be honest. The band itself was just a bit of genius.
Fucking great.
And I love them. Yeah. And Title Fight, Shed.
Yeah, fucking you're not head down. Definitely. Pick number 4 for me. So this is a band that this man right here turned me on to. Fiddlehead, Springtime and Blind. So this is the debut Fiddlehead album. They formed after the breakup of Have Heart as members of Have Heart, Basement. With the intention of writing a few tunes. They put out an EP. They decided to then do an album a couple of years later with the intention, I think, that this was just going to be it, because Patrick, the singer, is a teacher, I believe, in his day-to-day life. So they don't tour heavily. It's a couple of weeks here or there. Anyway, these are the bands, like you just said about Title Fight. Funny enough, I think that all 3 of their albums are actually fucking amazing. Actually, this might be my least favourite, but that's not to disparage it, because it's still fucking brilliant and it's still made it into my top 5 of this decade. Post-hardcore. Amazing, like I say, just Patrick Flynn's vocals are so emotional and raw at times, and you feel everything he's singing about. It doesn't outstay its welcome again. Like 20-25 minutes, all of their albums are short enough that you're not left going, alright, come on. You kind of, when it's finished, you want to go, I might even have to throw the next album on or whatever, because it's so fucking good. Yeah. The big tune on here is Lay Low. If you know the band, you'll know that, but it's amazing. Poem You, USMA. It's fucking, every song on here actually is great. Pretty much every song in their discography is pretty damn good. They're a fucking amazing band, Fiddlehead. So if you've not heard these, go and check them out.
Before you put it down, I just want to add something on. So, Fiddlehead, I love Fiddlehead. They're one of my favourite bands of modern times. I absolutely love them.
Yeah.
And I asked you to pick them after Title Fight because I just want to add on that when Title Fight split up, they filled that, there was that hole there for me for a good number of years where I was like, fucking hell, Title Fight, no band's going to come along now like Title Fight. And then Fiddlehead come along, and it's incredible because you listen to Fiddlehead and it's like Pat Flynn's lyrics and stuff. It's kind of like talking about coming to the end of his 30s, entering middle age.
Yeah.
Title Fight lyrics were very much being like, in your 20s, and stuff like that. And it's kind of like they filled that void perfectly. The Title Fight left.
Okay.
And I never thought that I would find a band who did that kind of thing better than Title Fight. Dare I say it? Fiddlehead, I might actually prefer to Title Fight.
It's a tough call.
I mean, they do have the perfect discography. Title Fight do too, but I can't. honestly, both bands are unbelievably special in my opinion.
Oh, 100%.
And yeah, I couldn't really say enough about both of them bands. It's my turn, isn't it?
Sure turn.
Right, that's enough of that crying about emo. Now we're going to beef it up a little bit. No Love for the World, Lifeless.
Nice.
Beat down, beat down, beat down, and more fucking beat down. If a record came out between 2010 and 2019 that was tougher than this, please recommend me it, because I fucking missed it. This is heavy, it is hard as fucking nails, and just from the very beginning, Born Dead. From straight off, you know you're in for some negative stuff. Real negative. Nothing, no hope in this album whatsoever. If I had to compare it to something that might have been out around the time, or maybe just before, probably something like Shattered Realm, I'd say this is better than anything Shattered Realm did.
Okay.
I just think it's that good. And it's, like I say, it's incredibly negative, incredibly heavy, and it's hard as fucking nails. No Love for the World, Lifeless.
Nice.
If you like beatdown hardcore, Lifeless.
Pick number 5 for me, I've gone Defeat of Civilization by Framtid. So I say, mixing it up a bit, gone with a crusty D-Beat band, legends from Japan, from Osaka, Japan. Under the Ashes is their classic kind of release, and when we did our 2000 to 2009 video, I had a few comments. People said, pick and saying what their 5 would be. That was in a couple of people's, and it did make me think a little bit like, fucking hell, yeah, I didn't even think about that one. And I do love that. This is fucking great as well. Again, like I said about Fiddlehead, 20 minutes, doesn't outstay its welcome. It's 10 songs. Everyone is fucking great. There's about 10 seconds on the whole album that isn't just fucking force in your face. The drums will just be, it's a D-beat, it's a big drum roll, it's back to a D-beat. It's fucking like, you know what I mean? It's fucking amazing. It's noisy, like say, D-beat and raw punk, Japan is the fucking place to go for it, I think. There's not many better and don't do it better, and these are one of the legends for a reason. So this is 2013, and it's unreal. Go and check it out. If you've got any interest in that stuff and you've not heard these, I'd be surprised, to be fair, but if you haven't, go and check them out. That's my final pick.
My final pick, Tables Will Turn by Take Offence. Probably in this little period we're talking about, probably the best band I ever saw live, in terms of a live performance. Nice. When I went to see them, they played with Mongoloids and Agnostic Front. Now, Time Trials by Mongoloids would have made this list if I hadn't already previously picked it on another video, which I have done. And we do have, if anyone has followed us for a while, we do have a rule that we won't pick the same album twice, which is why it's sometimes funny to comment. People say, why did you pick that? It's probably because we picked it before. But Take Offence, Tables Will Turn, these were absolutely incredible live. I actually hadn't heard of these when I went to that show, and they opened, and I was like, wow. They really blew my head off with the energy. Nice mix of members as well. Certain members were dressed as, there was like a skinhead look. Kind of like the singer kind of looked like an LA kind of like street gangster kind of thing. They were absolutely great. If I had to try and describe the sound, I wouldn't say it's crossover or anything like that. Even though there is a big thrash element, definitely for sure, solos and all that. I'd say it was fuck that fucking hurt that. I just fucking twisted my toe on the floor. Nice. I'd say it's more like. Fuck that did it, that shit. I'd say it's more like a better take or a more interesting take on like the Terror.
Like metallic hard.
It's more like and like I say, it doesn't get boring. That kind of stuff for me can. You know what I mean?
As you know.
You're going to think of Terror, First Blood, all that. This is more of an interesting take on that. Got the EP before that as well. I haven't got any of the stuff after it. I'm not sure if they changed the sound, probably haven't. But this was an absolutely incredible album. Tables Will Turn by Take Offence. If you're into that kind of Hatebreed, First Blood, Terror sound, you're going to love Take Offence.
Nice. What's your honourable mention?
My honourable mention is The Rival Mob, Mob Justice.
Nice. I'm going to go Descendents, Hypercaffium, Spazzinate. And that's our picks. Let us know what yours are in the comments. Give us a like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Instagram, Facebook, we're pretty active on there. Jump on, give us some comments, likes, follow. You know the drill. It all helps. Thanks for watching. See you next time.